Hello, welcome to the FanDuel Punch-Out. I'm Big Italy 42. He is Christopher Ruckus at Space Jam 23 DFS. Talking about tonight's action, and we'll start this thing right off for you here. Your top pitcher on the night is Chris Sale. He's $11,300. As far as talent-wise, he's not. I mean, it's not even close, really. He's got a great matchup. It's a matchup that people might think is actually kind of tough, but the Cardinals' fourth highest strikeout rate in the league against left-handed pitching at 24%. So Chris Sale's the guy you're paying up for if you're paying up in cash games. A couple other guys I like, and then I'll see who you like of those. Who else you got? I love Dallas Keuchel. Obviously, his strikeouts going to be a little bit capped against a team like Kansas City, but Lance McCullers had a great game against him last night, and Keuchel doesn't need strikeouts to be efficient. Almost a 65% ground ball rate, so I love him. Also, Cole Hamels at $9,800, and then if you need some cheap options, that's against Milwaukee, who struggle against lefties. I like Mike Montgomery at San Diego for 71, coming off that impressive complete game. And then Ryan Vogelsong, $6,900 against the Giancarlo Stanton-less Miami Marlins.
Yeah, I love all those. I'm going to give one. Two, Sonny Gray, I think, makes for a phenomenal pivot because I think people will say, oh, Chris Sale's $1,200 more, okay, or Cole Hamels is less. I think Sonny Gray will be low owned against Colorado. He just won't have high ownership. He's a nice pivot. Pivot number 2 is Danny Salazar for me, 8.9K. We know what he can do. He's playing at Tampa Bay. I don't mind him. He's obviously struggled, but for 8.9K with the upside he has, when you've got people like Keuchel, Cole, Gray, and Chris Sale all over 10K, I mean, we're talking almost 2K savings by pivoting off of those type guys. So I do like Danny Salazar.
Yeah, I'll throw out one more guy, Marco Estrada. Love him or hate him. I mean, he's given up 3 total hits in 15 2/3 innings in his last 2 starts. Almost had a complete game, no-hitter last time. So $7,900 against Boston. He may be fairly popular because of his recent success. I still don't think he's a great pitcher, but I think he's a great tournament option tonight, though.
Yeah, I think that's a good call.
All right, moving over to catcher. If you watch the Cash Games Locks podcast, you know a couple of these guys we're talking about. You have Monty Grandal, $2,700 against Robbie De La Rosa, who's terrible against left-handed batters. $3.89 WOBA allowed. Got to be looking his way a little bit. Buster Posey is a nice tournament option because he's going against Matt Latos, who's just really struggled. And Posey's on a torrid stretch right now. He's got at least 4.5 fantasy points in 4 of his last 5. I mean, really getting it going. At $4,400 is going to keep his ownership levels really low too.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great play. I mentioned this earlier. Yan Gomes, min salary. When you're paying up, he makes sense. And Yasmani Grandal, 2.7K, you can't beat that price tag. I mean, Matt Wieters costs more than Grandal tomorrow.
Yep. Yeah, $3,300, and I mean he gets Colby Lewis. I think he's a fine play because especially coming off the night off, Caleb Joseph caught last night, so I think he's an okay option. And then if you want a tournament option, I do like Cole Hamels, but Jonathan Lucroy, as you know, crushes lefties throughout his career, so $2,800, he's an option as well.
Yeah, no, agree.
All right, first base. We talked about a couple cheap guys for your cash games earlier on the Cash Games Locks, and Lucas Duda, $2,800 at home. Those significant home road splits, much better home than on the road. Gets Kyle Hendricks and Adrian Gonzalez, $3,000. Kind of disappointing night last night for many people with him, but still just way too cheap. And then another guy who's just putting the ball in play and being consistent, batting over $350 on the year. Prince Fielder, $3,700. I like him as well.
Yeah, and then I think I think there's 2 plays that we have to talk about for price. Play 1, Adrian Gonzalez, 3.1K against De La Rosa. And then play 2 is Joey Votto against Phil Hughes. I mean, I don't care. Joey Votto just gets it done last night. Great game. And he doesn't need to have a big play to have a great game because he'll string together. He'll hit a double with a man on or a single with 2 men on or, get walked, swipe a bag, and then get hit in for 4 points. He's not the type of guy that needs to hit a 3-run shot to have a big game. He can have a good game, which turns into a big game. So I love that for my cash game plays. I think Joey Votto's in a phenomenal spot today.
Yeah, and if you need a really cheap guy, Billy Butler, men's salary, had a monster game last night. Homer, double, 3 hits, 11.75. Crushes lefties, gets Jorge De La Rosa. So I think he's in a good spot as well. Second base options, I love Brunetto Odor, $2,700. He's going to be one of my favorite cash game plays. Ben Zobrist as well, $3,300. Also picking on De La Rosa. Went over last night, but he's a guy who's just got a lot of consistency. He's been a really good hitter for the last couple weeks, especially. And Jose Altuve, if you're picking on Danny Duffy, there's few guys better in the league against lefties. And Altuve, after that week stretch, he's really, really starting to get it going recently. Homers in 2 of his last 3 games.
Yeah, it's crazy. I saw him hit a home run. Was it Saturday they played the Yankees?
Yeah.
He hit a ball down and away from the plate, out of the park. It's crazy how much strength he has with how small he actually is. I love Jose Altuve. Neil Walker against Justin Verlander. I said it's in the locks. His better from the left side of the plate. Verlander is not Verlander anymore. He's like, I can't come up with anything witty for you.
He doesn't deserve that first name anymore.
No.
It's mine.
That's it. It's this guy. I love Neil Walker. Anytime he's under 3K, he makes for a great play. He's going to get you points. How much to be determined. The other play I really like, and I don't know how to really approach this. So it's a good time to talk about it. D. Gordon is 3K against Ryan Vogelsong, righty-lefty split, against a right-handed pitcher. If he gets on base, there's no Giancarlo Stanton behind him. So one thing I'm interested to see is how the Marlins respond on the base path without having that big bat. I would assume that D. Gordon's aggressiveness level goes up tenfold. I mean, from a coaching aspect, if your best hitter is gone and not behind your top, on base percentage player, you've got to get him around the bases.
Yep.
I just have a feeling that we're going to see D. Gordon go into a Billy Hamilton of last night mode where if he gets on base, he's going for second and he's going for third.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. And Ryan Vogelsong, his biggest weakness is left-handed batters, too. 372 WOBA allowed. So, I mean, obviously, you'd rather be running on somebody other than Buster Posey. But if you're getting on, and he should be getting on, and like you said, what do you have to lose? You're taking your chances, and he's going to be off the races.
And let's be honest, he'll get, 3 at-bats versus Vogelsong? If he gets walked, that could be a five-run steal second, steal third. Billy Hamilton did it 4 times tonight, it felt like.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think D. Gordon's a better base stealer than Billy Hamilton. I mean, it's close, but
he's a much better hitter, if nothing else.
He's a much better hitter, exactly. So his chance to get on base is significantly higher. So, man, that's something to look out for. I understand he's not going to have that RBI support, but I almost feel like this is a better situation for D. Gordon because D. Gordon definitely probably gets a caution light when he's on base with Stanton behind him. And Stanton still has to get a hit and score D. Gordon for him to get 1 point. Instead, he can get 2. I think D. Gordon's a great... I think I'm going to be rostering a lot of D. Gordon.
Yeah, and I mean, look at the top of the leaderboards last night in GPPs. I mean, you got Billy Hamilton, Eugenio Suarez, guys who stole a lot of bases. So you see how quickly those things add up. So get yourself some steal opportunities, and I'm with you. I think that's a great play. Third base options, you want Josh Donaldson against the lefty. He's only the 4th most expensive, $1,200 less than Nolan Arenado. Gotta love him. I mean, his price is just too cheap in this matchup, especially at the Rogers Center. If you can't afford him, if you know me, if you've ever met me, you know I love Danny Valencia as a cheaper option there. So he's certainly in play. And then, of course, you're looking at Todd Frazier against Phil Hughes. Phil Hughes, those reverse splits. Todd Frazier, in case you didn't realize, has 25 home runs on the season, 22 other extra base hits. He's in a great spot tonight at Great American Ballpark.
I mean, you literally just went boom, 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 done. Okay, contrarian, Chris Bryant for 3.5K at Citi Field against Jonathan Neese, done. Also, very contrarian. I mean, I'm assuming GPP ownership of sub 10, Manny Machado against Colby Lewis.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 4.3K. He's more than Donaldson. We had something similar happen on Sunday. I believe it was Sunday. They both ended up having a good game, but Machado was significantly lower owned. And that's a nice... third base is actually deep because you know what? Justin Turner's in a good spot against De La Rosa. Obviously Frazier. Obviously Chris Bryant. Obviously Josh Donaldson. Machado. A-Rod is not in a bad spot at all either. There's just and then you can go cheap guys like Brock Holt, Kyle Seager even too. There's a lot of interesting stuff to do at third base.
Yeah, even Brett Lawrie gets a lefty. Hits lefties pretty well, so I think he's a nice tournament option as well.
Yeah, third base is interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Shortstop options, Xander Bogaerts is going to be your chalk cash game play, rightfully so. $2,700, been batting third for the Red Sox. Got to like his spot. Whether you like Marco Estrada or not, I mean, Xander's been putting the ball in play. He's been a great play recently. Your expensive options, Carlos Correa, $4,100, gets lefty and Duffy. Was a disappointment last night, but I'm going back to him in tournaments tonight. I really like the spot. And then my other guy, Brandon Crawford, $3,100. Matt Latos has been terrible against lefties, and Brandon Crawford, I mean, he's doing now what Johnny Peralta was doing early in the season, where he's hitting for some power, and he's just good every game. Even if he's not great, he's good. He's putting the ball in play, he's scoring you points. Gotta love him at 3.1.
I don't know if I have anyone to even bring to the table. You literally just went through and you nailed it.
You don't want to chase that home run from Nick Ahmed?
No, I don't think. I think I'll pass. The one play I think is interesting is Jose Reyes.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's always got to be in play because, I mean, he's switch hitter, gets a guy who's really been struggling on the mound recently, too.
And then one other, I don't know enough about him, young Francisco Lindor. 2.5K, Erasmo Ramirez, I mean, he's cheap. He hit a home run a couple days ago. This is purely a punt play. I mean, my top option is Carlos Carrera, and then Brandon Crawford. Then obviously, if I'm pivoting off, and I think great GPP play, Sonny Gray, Troy Tulowitzki. I think 3.9K for Tulo is amazing.
Yeah, I mean that might be the first time all season we've seen him under 4K, or at least in a while. So that's a good spot.
It's a real. I think he makes for a nice contrarian play tomorrow.
Yeah, completely agree with you there. As we look at the outfield, you know I love Brett Gardner, 4.6K. He's been incredible recently. Gets another lefty-lefty matchup. That's not scaring me off him. I'll go ahead and throw out some tournament options. David Peralta, Carlos Frias, by far the worst WOBA allowed against lefties of any guy on the slate for tonight. 409. So David Peralta at 3.6K, a guy that I'm trying to use to target Frias there. And then a couple other guys. Andre Ethier is going to be popular in cash games. $2,200. He's the guy you're going to really need some exposure to as well.
Yeah, no, we already talked about that. He had a monster game last night. Andre Ethier, not much to say about him. I mentioned Michael Brantley is too cheap. He's just too cheap. 3.1K, that's too cheap for him. No question about that. I don't know. I know everyone wants the answer. Do I play Jock Peter? I got 3.5K left. Jock Peterson or Yasiel Puig. So Justin and I had this conversation. Yasiel Puig is a little bit more battle tested, done more. Where Jock Peterson's a hot new shiny toy. Perfect example. Last night, GPP ownership. Jock was 30%. Yasiel Puig is 10%. I don't think you can say that 20% more of the time Jock Peterson outscores Yasiel Puig. No. I don't think you can. And if anything, I would put that in reverse, if anything. So I would say Yasiel Puig, he's a great play tomorrow against De La Rosa. For one, he's a good play. For two, his ownership's going to be significantly lower than Jock Peterson. And we're at the point now where Jock Peterson could be playing anyone, and he's got good ownership. Yeah. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it's a name recognition thing. He's got power, but I mean, just look at his logs. He's not a multi-hit type of guy. Puig is just a better hitter, not quite as much of a power hitter, but a much better all-around hitter. So I'm with you there. That's a good spot. And then if you want a guy to really be contrarian right around there, Curtis Granderson, $3,500 also. He's got home runs in 5 of his last 8 games. A couple doubles as well, some multi-hit games. Hitting at the top of that order. Gets Kyle Hendricks, who isn't great against lefties, isn't terrible. 331 WOBA allowed, certainly a guy that you can target. And Granderson continues to be underowned. I mean, he's been one of the hotter hitters in the game recently.
Yeah, agreed.
A couple other options to throw at you here. I know you really like George Springer. I'm on board with that as well. Hits lefties really well. Danny Duffy on the other side of that one. And then another contrarian play. Had another nice game last night. 2 hits, including a triple. Mookie Betts, $3,500 against Marco Estrada. Like I said, Estrada's a guy that people are going to have some exposure to because he has pitched well. But get yourself some Boston bets, especially guys like Mookie Betts, who people might think of as overpriced, or ways to separate yourself from the pack as well.
I couldn't agree more.
All right, that's going to wrap things up. Find us on Twitter at DF Cafe. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out all of our content at dailyfantasycafe.com.